players who will be drafted tonight. And Jay Billis, I think it's safe to say a lot of our fans have not seen two of the top three picks, including Scoot Henderson. Who will he remind people of?
Russell Westbrook when he was at UCLA. They compare favorably at that age. And Henderson's played 2 years in the G League. He left high school early and was the youngest player ever in the G League at 17. Unbelievably dynamic with the ball. Super athletic, about 6'3", but 6'9" wingspan, and really attacks the basket. He just hasn't figured out the shooting piece yet.
All right, next we're going to talk about Brandon Miller. We saw one season of him at Alabama. Who is his comparison?
I would say a little bit like Paul George when he was at Fresno State, and you don't know if he's going to turn into Paul George in the NBA, but he's got that sort of ability level. Brandon Miller's an outstanding jump shooter. You know, shot 39% from three. He became a much better finisher. He started off slow, finishing at the basket, but started taking it much stronger toward the end of the year. And he's really a complete offensive player.
He said Paul George was his favorite player growing up. And then, of course, there's Victor Wembanyama, who we've heard a lot about, but most people haven't really seen him. What would be his comparison?
There really is no comparison. We're kind of making this up. But Ralph Sampson, if he were born 19 years ago, maybe would be raised in the game the way Wembanyama has been. But there's nobody like Victor Wembanyama. And look, I get it. If we said this kind of thing about a prospect every year, I would get it as it being called hype. This is not hype. This guy is the real deal, and all you have to do is watch it. And the only thing that derails this train to greatness for Victor Wembanyama is an injury. And he's not shown any tendency to get injured. He's not had injuries in the past, and in fact, he's got such a professional approach to things. He really takes injury prevention seriously. So he's different from anybody I've ever seen, and he's the best prospect since LeBron.
Best prospect since LeBron. Talk us through that. Legler and Windy are here, but talk me through it. Again, the fans have been hearing this name forever, and they've seen little clips of video here and there. Tell me about what is he? What is it he does? I get it that he's 7'5", and in and of itself, that is special. But just talk me through the things you're seeing him do that make him a prospect of this magnitude.
He's a 6'2" guard and a 7'5" body, and he impacts the game at a high level at both ends of the floor. He operates like a guard on the perimeter. His handle is like a guard. He can operate in a pick and roll. Because of his size, his strides are long. He can get to the basket. His length. He's a beautiful jump shooting form. He still needs to get better from three-point range, but he's got everything. And then on defense, he can block a ton of shots. He played in the same division as Rudy Gobert, and he blocked like 50 more shots in 7 more games than Gobert played. And he can block shots on the perimeter. You know, he can switch out on a guard, give the guard space to take away the drive and still recover to a step back three and either block it or change it. Look, he's gonna be great, and I think he's got the makeup. Wendy would know more about this, but I really believe he's got the mental makeup to be great. It's not just the physical attributes and all the things he can do on the floor. He's got a maturity level. And he's kind of, in a way, unshakable, and he's been raised to be a star. You know, he's been raised for this, and I think he's primed for it.
You say that about Windy because at one point here, Windy almost had to take up French citizenship because you were over there so much with him. Tell us about that, and in particular, when Jay mentions the handle, you were telling me a fascinating thing this morning.
His youth coaches used techniques that Pistol Pete Maravich. After Pete Maravich retired, he made this series of videotapes. You can find them on YouTube. The French coaches loved it. Maravich was, look, he was a huge believer in dribbling low. And Wembanyama's coaches, when he was young, 12, 13, were like, Victor, you got to dribble low. So when you look at Wembanyama now, yes, he is extremely tall. He's got enormous hands. But on the perimeter, he dribbles low. And I know that sounds like a real basic technique, but you just don't see it in a guy of this size. So his ability to handle, shoot, and then defensively, he didn't go to the combine, so we don't have the official measurements, and I don't know the centimeters and everything. But I will bet you from the bottom of his hand to the top of his middle finger is about a foot. Okay? If it's not 12 inches, it's 11 point something, okay?
Yeah.
And so what this enables him to do, not only has he got this pogo stick of an arm, he's got this enormous hand, So I'm telling you, starting in Summer League in 2 weeks, there will be players who are on the court with him, and they're going to be like, okay, I got an open jump shot, and he will come and he will block their shot, and they will say, where did he come from? Because he will be 20 feet away. 20 feet away from somebody when they're starting a jump shot, and he will block it. And that's what's going to happen in the NBA from day one. He is going to get embarrassed because of his bulk. There's going to be times where he's physically intimidated. But his length and his ability to have ball skills at that size is going to embarrass other people too.
So Legs, think me through this. I mean, you've been out there playing with these guys. I mean, talk to me about a 7'5" with guard skills and a wingspan and a foot-long hand and everything else. What does this mean?
Well, look, obviously this is a weapon unlike anything this league has seen, and that's not overhype. He's a guy, because of his length and his ability to put the ball on the floor and get to spots, and then elevate with a shooting form right now that's not necessarily perfect, but I think it has the potential to get there. But his mechanics are so solid right now, he can get to places, and he's got some escapability with his handle, and with the length on top of it, we just haven't seen anything like it. Now, the one thing we haven't seen yet is that frame against guys that are in that 6'8", 6'9" range, that are grown men strong, that can get up into his space a little bit, right? And now you're going to see him start to have to adjust to that on a nightly basis over an 82-game season. The physical strength of the guys he's going to play against is definitely going to be something he's going to have to adjust to, and he's going to hit a wall at some point. There's no doubt about it. But I'm with what Jay said, Wendy said. Look, I'm on board with it too. This is a can't-miss prospect. Barring injury, Victor Wembanyama is a guy that's going to live up to everything we're saying about him.